Akame got killed, episode 7, Kill the Three Beasts, part 1. Definitely a crazy episode because we have Esdeath coming back into town. We have our main characters kind of dealing with the loss of one of their friends, dealing with the loss of Shill, and just a main component of Night Raid. And then we have sort of this ending, and we get, the backstory for Bro, because I, of course, forgot his name, and don't even remember. I hear Bro, and that's all I think of for him, so that's just what I call him. But we get a little bit of his backstory, which I knew it was, as soon as I saw the flashback, I was like, oh, that old guy is going to be, it's the same dude. He had the same mustache, he just had, like, crazy long DBZ style hair when they were doing the flashback. He had, like, super long hair. But it was really cool. Like, I like these three characters, which, a huge shock to me, has been dwindled down to 2. Like, I know it was called Kill the Three Beasts, but Bro came in, it was like, kick this little kid who, I kind of wish that boy, they just made him a girl, because it just looks like a girl, like, so much. Like, in other stuff, that's a typical thing in anime, of course, we all know that, where it'll be a male character, it looks just like a girl, but in this case, it kind of makes me a little mad that they didn't just make it a girl, because it was like, it looks so much like a girl, and it would actually be cooler if it was just a crazy young girl instead of a crazy young boy. Just, I don't know, I guess because it would just mix it up a little, it wouldn't just be 3 guys. I guess I'd appreciate that more, I don't know, like, that was in my head, like, it just looks so much like a girl, I just like it even more. But I do like how crazy the kid is. I mean, he was skinning the one girl alive, he was skinning her face, and she died of shock, so he's insane. He has a flute as an Imperial Arms, which is pretty silly to me. But I like the characters. The guy who basically had no pupils, he was kind of crazy. I loved his weapon. At first, it was really, like, meh. It was just an axe. But when he was fighting Tatsumi and he actually broke it in half, that's when it was super awesome. I was like, oh, this thing splits off. And it's, I can't think of an actual term for it. I think they have weapons, or have terms for the weapons that are like that. But they're close to basically bladed tonfas. And they're also like boomerang blades where you can just toss them and they, spin around. It made me think of Naruto, like really early on episode where they had like, they would throw like their giant shuriken. That's what it made me think of, except he was able to bring it back to him. And I thought that was actually pretty cool. And then he just gets split in half. And when that happened, it was like, okay, Tatsumi gets saved. It's like, alright, kick the kid, block the old dude, push them both back. He's gonna fight the other guy, and it's gonna continue on into the next episode. And it's like, no, block, split in half. And as soon as I saw it, I was just like, oh shit, he died. Like, that's it, he's gone now. And this guy is not an issue anymore. And that really surprised me. I thought for sure there was gonna be a battle, and it was just like, no, we'll just block, half. So he's split down the middle. Game over for that guy. Yet another Imperial Arms for Tatsumi to possibly use, depending on how they get out of this situation. I really thought for sure that the guy was gonna die when he was talking to Tatsumi, like, of course, ironically, like, oh, I told you about, searching your surroundings and everything, and he's just like, oh, looking at Tatsumi. I thought for sure he was gonna get, like, stabbed in the back, or I kind of thought that he'd get his head chopped off because the old guy killed that other old guy who was, like, a former, part of the, ministry or whatever. He chopped his head off with his hand. I don't know how that worked, but it was really cool. It was just like, he just went boom, and his head came clean off. He had the glove on and everything, so I don't know, maybe the gloves are actually in Imperial Arms, and he can make blades on them, in any part of it that he wants to, even if it was, like, in the middle, he could, boom, spikes shoot out or something. But it chops his head clean off. I knew they were going to die, and that's the crazy thing about this show. It's like, oh, they have characters where it's like, oh, they might be important characters, but it's almost like the beginning of the show with Tatsumi's friends, and it's like, no, they're just here to die. That's it. And they came in, as soon as the 3 guys showed up, I was like, well, and she got out, and I was like, she's going to die, isn't she? And then he chopped all those people out, but only cut her, and then she did get it worse with the little kid like trying to skin her face off, which they couldn't really show. I'm sure if you look that up in the manga, it's just like full on, like almost just meat and stuff and gross, which actually sounds cool to me because we don't see that type of stuff in anime too often. It's like Attack on Titan type stuff. You don't see that too often, so when it happens, it's insanely over the top and gross. But it's also kind of intriguing because it's very rare that anime gets so gory that it kind of just draws you in a little bit, and that's definitely what this show does. Sometimes it's detailed, like in that case, even though they only showed like probably like up to here with their jaw and stuff. And then other times it's just like boom, you split in half, like Tatsumi in the last episode, just chopping people in half, and it's like oh, and parts just flipping and spinning, and it's still people getting chopped in half, but it's not like the insane gory detail. It's just like, and then parts are flying. But I like this episode. It was really cool. I had a really nice moment between Akame and Tatsumi when he was talking about Shield and how he thought Akame was used to it. It was just like, oh, you must be, basically used to losing friends. And she kind of broke down, and it was a really good scene. Even before that, when she mentioned, like, I have to basically keep the memory of Shield going because what we did is kind of behind the scenes stuff. So her memory isn't really put into like the rebellion records. So if I don't carry on her memory, it'll basically be like she was never here. And I thought that was really cool. It was a touching moment where she's already dealing with the loss of a friend, but she doesn't want that loss to be, I guess universal is the best way to put it. She doesn't want that loss to be across the board where no one realizes how good she did and how much she really did help Night Raid. So I like that moment a lot. And then the scene where she's breaking down and Tatsumi just thinking to himself the whole time. It was a weird scene. I was like, it wouldn't have happened that way. You'd think it would just be like he'd try to console her because he kind of messed up. But instead, he was starting to break down, and then he was like, crap, I have to fix myself up because I already upset her. And then he started thinking about himself, and he made himself upset, and he, punched himself and knocked himself down. And I was like, that was pretty interesting. And, he apologizes to her, and he's like, I had to get my own head straight, because in, just a couple of seconds of time, he, made Akame emotional, and then he did it to himself in an instant because he made her emotional, and it was a nice, quick little cycle. It was like, that's an interesting way that they did that, an interesting conclusion to how all that played out. And it was just like, she was upset, then he was upset that he made her upset, and upset about just the whole situation in general. And then it's like, she, like she said, you're upset, but you just carry on. You carry on the mission, and it was just a cool moment. So I did enjoy that one. It was a nice emotional moment for the episode, the emotional moment of the episode, really. And then we had Leone also going after Esdeath, and she was super cocky about it early on. And I'm like, once again, after the last episode, I just think everyone's gonna die. It's almost like Attack on Titan now, where it's like, after that, after a certain thing happens, you're like, everyone's gonna die. Like, is this person gonna die because they're looking away? Or The Walking Dead, is this person about to get killed? Is this person about to get shot or blown up or hit by an effing missile? Who knows? So I thought she might end up dying in this episode when she said that. And then when she got to Esdeath, she was just like, I was stupid for thinking I could take her on just because she's tough. Like, this is insane. Plus, she knew it was a trap, so it's like, I have to, despite what I want to do, I have to trust my instincts, and I gotta get the heck out of here. So she takes off, and Esdeath, knows, of course it was her plan. She was like, oh, well, I guess they didn't fall for the trap. And then she's just eating ice cream. Lots of ice cream in this episode. The little, I think, no, is it ice cream? I can't remember what those treats are. They're not ice cream balls. They're something else. What Akame had. I can't remember what they're called, though. But it was a good episode, nice action. Once again, after losing Shield in the last episode, I'm just like, we're really only 2 months into this series, and I'm sure that it's like 20 episodes or 22 episodes long or something in that area. I'm worried. Like, I'm wondering who's gonna live and who's gonna die from Night Raid, because it's not a show where everyone's safe. And we have Bro going up against his former mentor. I don't know if he's going to be strong enough to beat this guy. Once again, decapitated a dude with some butler gloves on. I have no idea what that means about his character, but I can't do that. I've never seen anyone do that, even with superpowers. That's generally hard to do. So I'm really worried for him. Of course, Esdeath being who she is, whenever she ends up finding them, I don't know if she's going to find their hideout and it's going to be like a crazy battle royale, or if she's just going to end up fighting some of Night Raid one-on-one. But it's going to be crazy. And then we have Akame and the guy who has like the string blades, I don't know his name, of course. They're on a mission as well in this forest. So, excuse me, who knows who's actually going to show up there? Because the 3 beasts are on the ship, or 2. Who's going to show up other than Esdeath? Like, that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be Akame versus Esdeath and the other guy. And considering it's called Akame Got Killed, the 2 people I'm 100% certain won't die unless this show just kind of flips the script and does something pretty intense and amazing. It's Tatsumi and Akame. They're the 2 people I'm really not worried about losing. And if Esdeath does show up, I don't think we have to worry about losing Akame in that fight. If we do, that would be insane, but I just highly doubt it. So, excited, but pretty scared after last episode. Like, once people start dying from the main cast of the heroes, I'm just worried every time there's a fight. It's like, this show has established that it doesn't follow the rules of all our heroes keep going. What's gonna happen? Like, that's how I'm thinking now. Every fight, every pause to look at someone else and speak when we know they're enemies off screen. Who knows? So I love this episode. Now I'm just gonna be worried every time they get into a fight. Plus, there is the rule: whenever 2 Imperial arms users come together, 1 will die. So that's just a thing. And the heroes, if they killed Esdeath, if anyone fought Esdeath, they'd have to die unless they beat her, and then it's like, oh, well, that's our main villain. But also, the show could add someone else. As powerful as she is, though, I think she'd be the one to win. And who knows, with Bro versus his old master, once again, someone has to die, and just because he has some awesome armor and invisibility, or temporary invisibility, it's not guaranteed. But I'm excited for the next episode. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And what did you guys think about Esdeath and her 3 beasts in this episode? We didn't see much of Esdeath fighting, which we got mostly hints of with them thinking like, oh, it'll take months for her to beat the guy, and then by the end of the episode, she's already beat him. Or they were talking about like almost a year, and she beat him, and it had to have only been a couple of months. So we know how insanely powerful she is. But we also got her 3 beasts, and clearly one of them couldn't stand up to Bro because he just got split in half, so he's gone. But I want to know what you guys thought about their introduction as far as fighting and personality-wise, what you guys thought. Because I enjoyed all 3 of them. Esdeath wanting love, I thought was interesting. That was just like, oh, it surprised us, I'm sure, as much as it did the characters in the show. It's like, oh, well, that's weird. I mean, we obviously don't know her as well, just she's the crazy strong villain, but it's like, she wants to be in love, so who knows how that's going to play out, or what impact that has for the rest of the series. But it was something. It was interesting. The 3 beasts I like. The old man, of course, I like the most, especially now that we know he had an interesting tie to one of our Night Raid members. And also, it seemed like in the flashback, and he even mentions it to the guy that he kills, that he was at one point following a certain set of rules. Like, if Night Raid had started up back then, I think he would have joined it. If he hadn't been arrested and basically sent to prison, I think he basically would have been a part of Night Raid, because he mentions how he believed in the other guys' like democratic policies and stuff. But now he works under Esdeath, who of course follows like this crappy evil minister, and they all know that they're the evil villains. But it'll be interesting. I really want to know that story. Like, what caused him to change? Because it seemed like everything he said in this episode, and what they showed in the flashbacks was like he believes in like the freedom of the people, and he believes that the government will do right by him and stuff like that. And then he was sent to prison, and now of course he's just totally free and everything's fine because he's working under Esdeath. So I want to know exactly what happened there, like what changed him to really fight against Night Raid, knowing what is really happening, like with the minister and behind the scenes, when he used to have such high hopes for democratic ideals and things like that, with a focus, a real focus on helping the people instead of helping those already in power. So I want to really know about that because it just seemed very interesting. Like he totally has the mindset, or at least did, of the people in Night Raid, and now he's the total opposite, and he's fighting them. So I want to learn that in the next episode. But I enjoyed their introduction. I like the villains. Surprised that they really did kill off one of the three beasts so fast. He was the most generic one, to be totally honest. He was like the crazy, tough guy of the group. But admittedly, they're all kind of generic. I think the kid is the most unique because, actually, I don't even know why. Because crazy kids in anime isn't unique. So I don't know. They're all fairly cliche, but at the same time, there's something about him that's interesting. And now it doesn't matter because he's been split in half. They do also have like devil horns, I noticed, which I just thought was kind of funny. The older guy, I don't think he has any, but like the little kid has like the tiny little ones, and the other dude had like just straight points, but the little kid had like the actual devil points. And that was something I liked about his costume. It was just like, why do they have those on? It was just funny to me. But I like this episode. Like I said though, I want to know what you guys thought, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.